accept. And hey, Ken, how are you?
Yeah, there we go. I was there. I thought it was tripping for a second. I didn't know what was
No
going
worries, no worries. Glad to have you on the platform. I was telling everybody the first time I met you, you actually performed at the Artist Block. Craig Scott was telling me about, some of the new artists coming up, and we both saw your performance, the song Disclaimer, and we were just blown away by your performance, the melody. It's an incredible song. So I got to talk about Disclaimer. What was the inspiration for that song and the process of developing a future bop? Because that's going to be a bop.
Well, first let me say thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show. And I appreciate the compliment towards the music. Uh, I think Disclaimer really came about from me getting to a place of kind of feeling like I wasn't prepared for, things that might be ready to come my way, things and or people, so I wanted to make sure that, I let people know the name Disclaimer, it's really just, to let somebody know, put somebody on game about something. So that's really, where it came from, where I felt like I was at a point of maybe even feeling like, I wasn't good enough to push certain things out, and I didn't want people expecting things from me I couldn't give them. So that was the emotion that kind of pushed out, a good bit of the poetry in the song.
You know what? That's so dope because, a lot of the popular music, and it's not necessarily a shot at the popular music, but it's a critique. A lot of the music is materialism based. But like from your music, there's this soulful realness that's missing in our culture in terms of the music in the mainstream media. Um, do you what led you to, instead of just going for the popular stuff, just, hey, look, I'm just gonna go and just talk about the material stuff and just talk about that real, because that realness, we're missing that in today's style of music.
Yeah, I think I don't. I've never. It's not like materialistic things matter to me in my personal life, and then I am able to transition, to a deeper type of music. The music I push out is really, where to focus on my energy. Like when I do focus on things that are material, I think to create a sense of stability for myself in a materialistic world, but
Mm-hmm.
I really could not care less. I think the stuff we need to be talking about doesn't get talked about enough. So my music is probably going to be a reflection of the things that are mainly in my head, which is not to say that I won't, once, achieving things that I've worked hard for, not to say that I won't, be proud of those things, but as far
Absolutely.
as being the forefront of, where my poetry comes from, probably not.
That's deep. When did you first fall in love with music?
Mm, I don't think I ever fell in love with music. I think it was probably always written for music to be my form of communication with people, and it took me a long time to realize that, or a long time to kind of, get to a point where I could communicate that with other people. Because I always sang, when I was upset or happy, things like that, or a lot of things were revolved around music for me. But I think now that I'm able to communicate a little bit better, being older, I can say that it's a channel for me to, make sure that things that are positive in light, I can give that to people.
Absolutely. And who are some of those positive lights, those musical influences that, influenced you in music?
To give a few names, I can say Michael Jackson. Start with Mike. Got to. I'm gonna go Brandy. Got to. Uh, really, I think India Irie, like a good bit of people who wrote music that I think made me feel things. And even there's people who don't. It would be difficult for me to sit here and name, the people that I feel like have influenced me, because I feel like we as, humans don't really realize how much we learn from other people. And
Hmm.
I think it would just be kind of short of me to, name my favorite people and not act like I don't take inspiration from the trees or from like art, pictures, or all type of stuff. I take inspiration from everywhere, so I feel like I gotta give credit to any and everybody that creates art.
Mm, absolutely. What was the first song you ever wrote, and what was it about?
Okay, so the first song I ever wrote was when I was a little kid. I wrote the song called "Everybody in the Whole Wide World." It
Mhm.
was the chorus, the hook, and the verse. The only words in there. But my mom said I went around the house like singing it real proud, and she asked me who wrote it, and I was like, "This is me. This is my song." So I think from a young age, I really started writing, just writing. I don't think it wasn't until recently with this project that I sat down, with music in mind to try to create a project, a musical project. Prior to that, I really, I write down things that I think and feel and see, and once I get to reading those things back, a lot of times it sounds in a way in which when I read it to somebody else, they can understand exactly what I felt. And I feel like it's not fair for me to keep that to myself. Other people have the ability of, or the gift of language is really what I like to call it. Is that I feel like I have the ability to take poetry, and then I have the sound to take that poetry and put it to where people will not mind listening to it over and over again.
Wow, you kind of answered my question, but I want to ask it in a different way. Um, so many talented people, they're either scared of the rejection. They feel like maybe their poetry or what they feel it might not translate to people like you know recognizing it. You know what I mean, or responding to it in a way where they would like. What led you to finally say, okay, I got all this great work, I got this pen, and I'm actually going to release it to the people? Because not everybody does that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm really impulsive. Like when I feel like okay, I can do this right quick, or this is something I can get out. It's kind of something I want to do. So as like I said, since a kid, I was writing things, and I've always sang. My whole family sings, so I've been around singers and things like that. But you know, I can't give you a specific answer really. I just
Mm.
at some point I felt like this is something I've been dreaming about, and I just started seeing all these people, with these dreams, and they get old, and the dreams grow old with them, and they just like, man, if I would have tried it, who knows? And I didn't want to be, I never want to be a who knows person. So I was just like, I,
You got to
I,
jump.
yeah, I see if I do it. I'm just gonna see if I can do it, and then from here, like, I feel like with this past project, there's some things that I feel could be tighter, but it's
Mm.
nothing that you know what I mean. It's nothing that ain't under wraps. So I feel like it's no stopping. Most definitely, it's no stopping no time soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Best believe. So you just released your EP, The Tower, in December of 2021. What were some of the obstacles that you had to go through in releasing the project, and ultimately, how did you succeed in releasing this project?
I say biggest obstacle is myself.
Mm.
Uh, I'm perfectionist to an extent. It's not necessarily the details, but it's it's the feeling I get. If I don't feel like this is perfect, then I have a very hard time putting it out, even to get a starting point. I don't want my starting point to be too low, so that was the biggest thing for me is that this is my first one, and I wanted my starting point to be super super high, so that way it wouldn't be too much room. But that's me in my own head, and that was really the biggest obstacle. But outside of that, ran into a couple of problems with like the details, like the business side of releasing, like the master and the people who I needed to be in contact with, things like that. Uh, that was a learning curve a little bit, but I don't think it's nothing that is not well understood now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When was your very first live performance? What was your experience there?
Very first live performance, probably the talent show in high school.
Mm.
Had my acoustic guitar with me, played that. I'm pretty sure I sang an Ed Sheeran song, and that was pretty good. I think that went well. I wasn't sure how, because I went to high school in Rock Hill, and I was singing Ed Sheeran, so I wasn't really sure, how everybody was gonna take that, but everybody soaked it up pretty well. I got a lot of compliments. A lot of people actually like got put onto his music and stuff, so it was cool. That was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So were you set? Were you first place, second place? Where were you?
I've never won. I've never won.
Hey, real talk. Some of the greatest artists, they did not win their talent show. You know
Look,
what I mean?
look, I used Fuel to Fire because it was not, but it was one year. There was a dude who, his name is Harrison. I can't remember his last name. I would give him a full name shout out if I could. He composed a like piano piece. Yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't even.
A
I was like,
brother?
and that was the year that I really feel like I was like, that's probably the best, chance. Nah, he killed that. He composed it, like so. I was like, yeah, it's
A brother? Was he a brother?
nah. He was mad cool though. He was mad
Cool,
cool though.
cool. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, okay. So you already talked about it already about the mixing and the mastering, but what were some of the lessons you learned as an artist so far? You know, whether it be performing wise, whether it be business wise, whether it be creative wise. What have you learned in the process of releasing the tower?
I said I've learned so much. I'm trying to I'm trying to figure out the biggest thing I've learned. I think would be to let myself fall. Like I,
Mm,
I don't even know how to like put it in words like that well. There was so many times like people I know people see, the finished product of things, but there was so many times, where I woke up a certain day and I'm like, we can't do this. Like we can't this ain't
mm.
gonna like we can't drop this at this time or that's not gonna work. Or, things going good and then you get that call, it's like, yo, we're gonna have to do this and then it's like that ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to do this and I'm a person, I come up with solutions very quickly. And I was generating solutions so fast that I wasn't seeing I needed to wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is to let myself fall when I need to.
Mm.
Like being able to it's still a learning curve for me. Like still being able to tell the difference. Like when I need to be like, okay, like let's do this, let's do that. We can do this and go forward this way, but like sometimes we don't need to do that. And I think that's that's been a big thing. In music and outside of music, but it got brought upon me because of the music. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Where are you doing any touring? Are you
I'm not
touring any
doing
place?
any I'm not doing any touring, but April 10th you could come out and we will have a showcase. It'll be United Records showcase. I'll be headlining. It'll be me. You probably catch A Santana, who's a rapper on the label, and a couple of other artists that's probably out of Greensboro will also be performing. But I'll be headlining, so it'll be a whole set. Y'all be able to see a good bit of me putting together an actual show instead of it being me performing a version of songs. It'll be a show. So.
Absolutely. So I've seen you perform at the Artist Block. And one of the things that I'm curious about is in terms of you collaborating with people. What are your thoughts on collaboration? And because I got to talk to you off air about who I think you could really, collaborate with, and I think it will be a total bop, like a love joint type of thing, like a hey lover type of thing. I'll tell you off air or whatever. But my question to you is, what are your thoughts on collaboration and working with artists, whether at the Artist Block or at your record label? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm really open to the conversation of collaboration. So I'm never gonna look at somebody and be like, nah, I'm not gonna work with you. But we are gonna have to have, there will have to be a conversation, that comes before me. Because, like I said, I don't know if people pick up on it too much, but I refer to my music, my lyrics as poetry. That's what it is. That's not, that's something that there's levels of that I'm willing to share with the public, but those are finished final products. When I'm getting into the breakdown of how I operate when it comes time for me to create, a baby, like, you're pregnant with an idea. When you comes time for me to create an idea and to nurture it and have that, come to fruition and things like that, there's certain people you can't have around for reasons that some people believe, some people don't. I think energy is a really big thing. there's certain people that if you're not, not, I don't want to say up to par, because I know that, it's a journey for everybody to get, to certain places where they can be, where they need to be at. But I do think that if it does start to get to a point of, affecting me and affecting the work that I can do and the work that I know I can produce, then that's not going to be, beneficial for either of us. But, I'm always available to be a person to people, though. Like, I'm available for conversation. There's nobody who hasn't, been able to come and tell me, like, hey, this is what I do. Let's, talk about working, and then me be open to, working with them. So
Absolutely. That's dope. That's dope. Okay. So when are you already working on your another EP, another album? What are your thoughts on that? Are you already work? Because I already want to see the next thing. I'm a fan. I'm
look,
a fan
I
of you.
don't I don't heard it a little bit. I don't heard it a little bit. But I can say with a like working on a project with a date in mind, nah. But constantly creating, that's not gonna ever stop. So you can definitely look forward to singles. I'll drop a hint off. Singles on the way. But project wise, it's on the calendar, but I can't get into it too much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hey, everybody, make sure that you follow Ken's and you support her on her journey. I'm telling you, man, she is something special. She is the next generation Lauryn Hill. I love it. Yeah, the next generation. I see it. Big time. Big time.
So
Thank you very much,
thank you
Ken's.
so much for having me up here and giving me, platforms, talk about, things I created and stuff like that. You reached out to me and came to me and, let me know that this is something you wanted to do. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anytime. We definitely gotta do it again. But
Absolutely.
but you got a fan over here. I'm definitely gonna try to support. What was the date again? For the performance?
April 10th. Y'all come out April 10th.
April 10th. And make sure, yes, stream The Tower.
Facts, facts, facts. It's on all streaming. You don't got nothing I ain't got. It's on everything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, make sure everybody follow Ken's. Thank you very much again for coming and speaking with us for a few minutes. You have an incredible day.
And you as well.
All right.